Donald Trump has violated the terms of his pretrial release by making dangerous, indeed deadly, threats against witnesses. And Donald Trump's pretrial release should be revoked and he should be detained pending trial. Let's talk about that, because justice matters. Hey all, Glenn Kirshner here. So friends, as a former career prosecutor, I had to make the decision countless times about whether to ask that a judge order a defendant detained pending trial. The decision I had to make each and every time was this: did the prosecutor, did the government, did law enforcement have clear and convincing evidence that the defendant was either a danger to the community or a flight risk? And if so, the law provides that that defendant should be detained pending trial. There was another time that I would find myself in a position where I would ask a judge to detain a defendant pending trial when that defendant had been indicted, had been arraigned, and had been released by the judge. And the judge had imposed conditions of release, like not threatening or harassing the witnesses. Donald Trump is on release in 4 felony cases, 2 federal felony prosecutions. And Donald Trump has been ordered not to harass, not to threaten the witnesses against him. And yet, he has done precisely that in some of the most dangerous and even deadly rhetoric imaginable. And I'm beginning to fear that the criminal justice system is not up to the task. It seems unable or unwilling to hold the most dangerous man in America, the most dangerous man to our democracy, accountable for threatening witnesses and for continuing to poison all jury pools. Here's the latest reporting about Donald Trump's dangerous rhetoric. Headline from The Independent: Trump suggests Mark Milley should be executed in possible breach of pretrial release conditions. And that article begins: Donald Trump has made a series of aggressive comments on social media about outgoing head of the Joint Chiefs, Mark Milley, suggesting the top military leader's conduct was worthy of execution. And this absurd quote from Trump. Quote, Mark Milley, who led perhaps the most embarrassing moment in American history with his grossly incompetent implementation of the withdrawal from Afghanistan, costing many lives, leaving behind hundreds of American citizens, and handing over billions of dollars of the finest military equipment ever made, will be leaving the military next week, close quote. Mr. Trump wrote on Truth Social on Friday. This will be a time for all citizens of the USA to celebrate, he continued. This guy turned out to be a woke train wreck who, if the fake news reporting is correct, was actually dealing with China to give them a heads up on the thinking of the President of the United States. This is an act so egregious that, in times gone by, the punishment would have been death. The Independent has contacted the Joint Chiefs of Staff for comment. The former president's comments could potentially run afoul of his release conditions ahead of his trials related to the special counsel investigations against him in the Mar-a-Lago documents and the 2020 election conspiracy cases. He, Trump, has been warned to avoid publicly attacking court officers and potential witnesses on social media. If Mr. Milley is in fact a witness in either of these cases, Mr. Trump could face serious penalties. First of all, General Milley is undoubtedly a witness against Donald Trump. Why do I say that? Well, recall that audio recording of Donald Trump made at his third-rate resort in New Jersey, Bedminster, when he was disclosing to, disseminating classified information, indeed national defense information, about military plans that reportedly General Milley had drawn up for a possible operation against Iran. By the way, disseminating that kind of national defense information to unauthorized persons violates our nation's espionage laws. So General Milley is almost certainly a witness against Donald Trump, and he knows it. And he's on pretrial release, having been ordered not to harass or threaten the witnesses against him. He hasn't just harassed or threatened a witness against him, General Milley. He has put out the words to his supporters that General Milley has engaged in such egregious violations against the United States of America that he should be executed, or in past times he would be executed. You know, that's not just threatening a witness, it's endangering a witness. It is trying to deter that witness from testifying truthfully. Not that General Milley will be deterred by the likes of Donald Trump or his supporters who may act on Donald Trump's call, but it directly, dangerously, inexcusably violates the terms of Donald Trump's pretrial release. And our system, our criminal justice system, the laws that should apply to all of us now dictate, mandate that Donald Trump should be revoked on pretrial release and should be detained pending trial. Detained pending trial. Our criminal justice system has to be up to the task of protecting the community, protecting the witnesses, protecting our democracy against the likes of Donald Trump, who would directly violate the terms of release set for him by the courts. This has to be done, because if it's not, the threats will continue, his violent rhetoric will ratchet up, jury pools will continue to be poisoned, witnesses will continue to be endangered, and the right of we the people to a fair trial of the many, many, many felony charges of which Donald Trump stands indicted will be all but gone. You know, the system can step up and take control of things, not let Donald Trump continue to take control of things. He should be detained pending trial. That will take away his megaphone, right? It will neutralize his ability to endanger witnesses and poison the jury pool, and it will give we the people a shot at a fair trial and an America that is put back on track, right? We can endeavor to rebuild our democracy and our institutions of government that Donald Trump and so many of his Republican lackeys, lapdogs, and flunkies have tried to destroy and continue to try to destroy. Put one man, the leader of this criminal cabal, in jail pending trial because he has earned that, and all of the weak little cowards and flunkies and lackeys in the Republican Party, you know, the lemmings that are following Donald Trump down the path, heading toward the edge of the cliff, they will shut up in a hurry because they're weak and because they are unpatriotic. So let's hope that the system, the criminal justice system, the prosecutors and the courts are up to the task. They stand up, they take the initiative, and they apply the law as it was intended to be applied as it would be applied to you or me or anybody else other than Donald Trump. And they revoke him on pretrial release. And they detain him pending trial. And they give we the people a shot at a fair trial. Because justice matters. And friends, as always, please stay safe, please stay tuned, and I look forward to talking with you again from my home office back in Washington, D.C. tomorrow.